We're here at the Lower Manhattan Security Command Center, our city's state-of-the-art anti-terrorism, counterterrorism coordination center. It acts as a communications hub, a place where a number of our city's advanced computer counterterrorism systems can relay information so that it can be analyzed and acted upon. Those systems include a network of cameras, many provided by private businesses in finance, banking, telecommunications, and other industries that are programmed to sound an alarm if they spot anything suspicious, such as an unattended package at the entrance of a building. The center also includes 2,600 radiation detectors that have been distributed to NYPD officers on patrol, as well as more than 100 license plate readers that are in place at bridges, tunnels, and streets. And several dozen mobile license plate readers are also deployed on the city's police cars, allowing suspected automobiles to be tracked in real time. The technology being used here can also play an important role in fighting everyday crime. And thanks to a dynamic partnership between the NYPD and the Microsoft Corporation, we are doing it. Today, we're announcing the full launch of the Domain Awareness System. This new system capitalizes on new powerful policing software that allows police officers and other personnel to more quickly access relevant information gathered from existing technology. The entire system is designed to improve how New York City's police officers do their jobs and help them respond even more effectively. In other words, we're finding new ways to leverage already existing cameras, crime data, and other tools to support the work of our investigators, making it easier for them to determine if a crime is part of an ongoing pattern. And it will allow the NYPD to better deploy its officers. The system, you should know, was created as a result of police officers, detectives, and software developers working side by side, with New York's finest helping to shape and refine the system as a result of their years of experience, keeping New York the safest big city in the nation. Our administration has consistently, as you know, championed the use of technology when it can be used to help solve crimes and save more New Yorkers' lives, and that's what this system really is all about. It is also, I think, a great example of what the public and private sectors can do to improve people's lives when we work together. As I mentioned, Microsoft provided the technical and engineering muscle, but NYPD personnel were the architects of this new system. Our officers committed countless hours working with Microsoft engineers step by step on developing and refining this new technology. And I'd like to invite the man who led that process, Commissioner Ray Kelly, to tell us more about their work. Ray?
When I came back to the police department in 2002, I found out that the department was still a very big user of whiteout and carbon paper. In other words, the technical revolution had, to a certain extent, bypassed the department. Mayor Bloomberg helped us change all of that. By 2005, we had put in place the Real-Time Crime Center. It helps the detectives very quickly tap into the vast amount of information that the police department has stored, but quite frankly, we didn't know that we had it in those days. And 3 years later, we opened this facility, the Lower Manhattan Security Initiative and the Midtown Manhattan Security Initiative, which is a follow-on. The goal of this project was to safeguard the financial district here, and later, as I say, Midtown Manhattan, safeguard them against a terrorist attack. We envisioned for LMSI a system of cameras, license plate readers, radiation detectors that could alert us in time to defeat or to minimize another attack. As the promise of both the Real-Time Crime Center and LMSI materialized, we realized we had the opportunity to create a powerful and coordinated domain awareness system to help us combat both terrorism and conventional crime by coordinating our alert systems with vast amounts of data. The system allows us to connect the dots by instantly tapping into the details of crime records, 911 calls, license plate readers, videotape footage, and more. What makes this tool even more useful is that all the information is presented visually, geographic and chronological context. This allows investigators, analysts, and operational personnel to generate and refine leads, to identify patterns, and to optimally deploy manpower. Show you how we cull information and respond to real-time alerts of anything from potential terror threats to street crime. We'll show you how investigators get immediate access to information through live video feeds, and how detectives can access results of license plate readers and find a suspect, or map criminal history to reveal a pattern. We can track where a car associated with the murder suspect is currently located and where it's been over the past several days, weeks, or months. If a suspicious package is left in front of a location, we can look back in time and see who left it there. If one of our radiation detectors in the field sets off an alarm, the signal is sent here. We can determine quickly whether the sensor had detected a weapon or, more likely, an individual who had just undergone some sort of medical procedure. We'll also show you how police commanders can query our databases to review and correlate crime information with how resources are deployed. This is a system developed by police officers for police officers. The result of this joint effort is a tool that meets the needs of the department, one that will help protect New Yorkers and keep us safe from crime and terrorism for years to come. I want to thank Microsoft for its commitment to develop this terrific tool.
Has devoted more than 30 years to serving in our nation's armed forces, and his partnership on this project, I think it's fair to say, was invaluable. General, did I say something?
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Bloomberg and Commissioner Kelly, for those great words. It's really an honor to be here today. I would say that's paramount, but mostly I want for everyone to be assured that Microsoft is deeply committed to taking this initiative to another level. And as we say in our company, kind of a little bit of a word is that we're all in. And we're all in making this very, very special for our nation in this unique mission. I'd like to pause, though, to thank the New York Police Department and the city and the leaders, and as the commissioner just stated, all of those involved in building this incredible system jointly. It's a true privilege to be able to be trusted by this great institution in bringing our technologies in, and most importantly, to give us the opportunity to jointly now take this unique capability to other law enforcement agencies, justice and public safety institutions, not only in the United States, but also to our allies. Because as we know, that type of technology will enable our first responders, our supporters, and our decision makers in reality to be able to increase the velocity and increase the accuracy of decision making, whether at the ground level or in the command center, in order to continue this fight on terror and crime.
Is not a mock-up, it's not a video. It is a real-time use and demonstration of a system that we have operational in this coordination center today. We at the NYPD, when we set out the parameters that we wanted Microsoft to build around, we told Microsoft that we wanted to alert on real-time events. Events like radiation sensors going off in the field, or a hit on a license plate reader for a vehicle of interest. We also want to alert on things like 911 calls that could alert us to potentially suspicious activities or behaviors going on in the field. For example, 911 calls about suspicious package jobs, 911 calls about suspicious vehicles, 911 calls about explosions. A few days ago, we got an alert for a suspicious package. Someone called 911 and told the operator they saw a suspicious package out in the street. That alert came up on the dashboard in real time. It takes us to the place where the job occurs on the map, And it gives us all details that the department has about the job, including the location. This one happens to be in Union Square, as well as all of the text that the 911 operator inputs into the system. So in this case, the caller states that there's a box with a Jack Daniels label in front of the stage door to the Trace's Playhouse. States that the box is sealed, but has something inside. The box is 1 foot wide and 1 foot deep. Now let's bring the sensors into the equation. With the click of one button, I can call up all cameras within 500 feet of that job. It's shown in this radius here. Now, these cameras that are going to come up are going to be timed not to see live video feeds. They're going to be timed to show video from 30 seconds prior to the time of the call. The idea is see if you can spot the suspicious package at the time the call was made. So a quick scan of the camera shows that we have one camera on our system that looks right at the Trace's Playhouse. If we zoom into the system, you will see, excuse the quality, you will see the box right over there. Officers from this command center were able to rewind the video and find out when the package was left, who had left it there, and they were able to alert officers out in the field about the condition. They were also able to give feedback about crowd conditions in the area. The idea is get the information that can be useful out into the field as quickly as possible. Fixed license plate readers and we have mobile license plate readers. When those readers scan a plate, that plate is sent over the city's wireless information network into our domain awareness system. When it reaches our domain awareness system, which is in real time, it is compared against lists. We have a terrorism watch list. We have another watch list for the Detective Bureau to support and aid in their investigations. If we have a plate that matches any plate on one of our lists, we will get a real-time alert in our dashboard. When we open the alert, it'll take us to the place where that plate was scanned. It'll also give us any information that the department has about that job, including the location of the scan, the time of the scan, the plate on the hot list. I want to point out it also gives us 2 pictures of the plate. One that is zoomed in so we can see the actual plate number, and one that is zoomed out so we can know make, model, color of the vehicle. Now I want to call your attention to this correlation workbench, this panel down here. This panel is incredibly powerful. It is what we call the brains of the domain awareness system. It is designed to essentially start an officer's investigation for him or her. So under the possibly associated vehicles tab, we'll pull up any time that plate has been scanned before on our system. With each plate, we'll get a date and a time of occurrence, as well as a list of all plates that have been read plus or minus 30 seconds of each scan. This is useful if we're looking for vehicles that are caravanning together. In addition, under possibly associated people, and I will tell you for purposes of this demonstration, we used an NYPD vehicle, so there will be nothing behind that screen, but I'll just explain it. It will call up any record that the department has that license plate number in it. So again, this is without any user interaction with the system. So if that vehicle license plate number is in a complaint or arrest report, or if it's in an accident report or a parking summons, that record will be brought up to the investigators. You can imagine what this can do to aid investigators in their work. Deploy radiation sensors on cops' belts. We have them in vans. We have them in boats. Example, the detective clicked on an alert that came in for a radiation sensor that went off. It takes us to the place where that job occurred on the map. This one happens to be in the heart of Times Square. It gives us any information that we have about that job, including the location, the time, the precinct, the dose rate. Here it's 8.32 microrems. In addition, it reads isotopes. So here we see that it read technetium-99. Now, if you don't know what technetium-99 is, and I certainly don't, you can open a fact sheet about it. It'll give you basic information about its half-life, its atomic weight. But if you scroll down a little bit, it'll also give you general information that can be used to relay to the officers in the field who are responding to the job. So the appearance, typically this isotope is a salt in a solution. The origin, it's a man-made isotope. Common uses, and I want to make sure that I make this point very clearly. There are medical uses for this isotope and industrial uses. So this isotope does not only have hostile uses, there are perfectly reasonable explanations for why this isotope would be detected out in the field. If we scroll down even further, we'll see information about exposure to that isotope and symptoms. You'll see that very high exposure requires immediate hospitalization. Lymphocyte count decreases, hair loss. I also want to point out that the dose rate that we alarmed on was 8.32 microrems. That is about 100,000 times less potent than the lowest level of radiation for which medical treatment is required. So if the detective bureau comes to us and they're working on a case, let's say they're working on a murder investigation, and they have the name of a perp, we'll say for this one we'll use Mr. John Doe. So we type Mr. John Doe into the search box, and we will immediately pull up all records with Mr. John Doe's name in them. These are arrest reports, these are complaint reports, these are warrants and parking summonses. It will also plot for you all of the records on the map. This gives us some geospatial sense of where this activity occurs. Now, if we're looking for a particular Mr. John Doe, we can refine our search. We can refine based on who, what, where, when, why, and how. So if I only want to see complaint reports, and with 2 clicks of the button, I can refine my results accordingly. So here you'll just see complaints for Mr. John Doe, and you'll get the same results mapped on the dashboard. Now you can also open any report and see the underlying record. You can imagine what this can do for investigations. Instead of having to go to siloed databases, this is designed to be the one-stop shop. Now let me transition to the final use case that I'm going to demonstrate today for the dashboard, and that is crime analysis, understanding crime patterns and knowing where the activity is out in the field. So if the borough commander, for example, of the Bronx comes to us and he says, Jesse, I am looking for any 911 calls for shots fired last week in my borough. With a few clicks of the mouse, we can pull up all 911 jobs for shots fired in the Bronx. These are the reports right here. These are all of the incidents in the Bronx last week, and it will also update those results here on the map. You can imagine how this is a tool that will help the department learn how to deploy or understand better how to deploy our resources.
Jesse, thank you. I think that gives you an understanding of just how complex the world is and what we're doing to try to keep us safe. There's no guarantees in life that you're ever going to stop every bad guy, prevent every bad thing from happening. But you should know that we are doing everything that we can to make sure that we are safe, that we have a future, that Americans' freedoms are protected. It is Microsoft is one of the great companies in the world, and it is true that we could not have done this without them, and I just wanted to personally thank them.